Hey guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're back in class. It's Thursday. And today I want to continue on with the dividing of fractions. But today I'm looking at dividing mixed numbers. And again, yesterday I showed you the 2 steps to solving fractions and dividing fractions. But now that it's a mixed number, we have a new step involved. And this step is now our first step. So let's take a look at our first step. If you're dividing 2.5 divided by 3 1/3, step number 1 is to rename your mixed number, because we can't divide with whole numbers and fractions. So we have to rename it. So 2.5 becomes 5/2. How did I get 5/2? 2 times 2 equals 4 plus 1 equals 5/2. How do we rename a mixed number? You multiply the whole number by the denominator, and then you add the numerator, and everything goes over the same denominator that you have. So 2.5 really becomes 5/2. Remember, step 2, your division becomes a multiply. Now you have to rename this also. So we're going to do 3 times 3 equals 9 plus 1 equals 10/3, which becomes 5/2 times the reciprocal, 3/10. Remember the flip. Okay, rename, multiply, and flip. So your answer becomes 3 times 5, 15/20. Again, 15/20 can be reduced. How do you reduce? You pick a factor that they both have, which they both can be divided by 5. So I say 5 goes into that 3 times, 5 goes into that 4. So reducing, I'm going to do a video on reducing, but for reducing any fraction, you pick a factor and you divide to reduce it. Hope you follow that. Let's try it. One more. Oh, I got me a new eraser. So let's erase. I'm still working in a very small space, but I'm working. I don't know. I hope to get there soon. Get my act together, get thumbnails, get cute, be pretty, so I could really, help students. So the next one will be 4.5 divided by 1 and 1/6. All right. Same thing applies. Rename, change the division to multiply, flip the last fraction. Let's rename. Remember how to rename. Times these 2 and add this 1. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9/2. Change this to a multiply. 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 1 is 7/6. Flip becomes 6/7. So now I just cross multiply because that's the easiest. 9 times 6 is 54. Over 2 times 7 is 14. You can leave it as 54/14 and get it correct. But if you're doing multiple choice, the teacher says, I need you to reduce your fraction to the lowest term. Again, sometimes you could think of a factor if there are no factors. I usually just do this. How many times can 14 go into 54? I have to think. 3 times. 14, 14, 14. It goes 3 times. That's 42. And then you have around 12 left over. Okay, so I said 14 into 54 goes 3 times, and then you have some remainder. So you put that remainder over the 14. And even the 12 over 14 can be reduced by 2. 2 goes into 12 6 times. 2 goes into 14 7 times. So the real answer is 3 and 6 over 7. Okay. Alrighty. 2 goes into 12. Yep, 6 times. Let's make sure. All right. So mixed numbers are just the same procedure as dividing any fractions. But remember that when you're looking at a mixed number, you have to rename it into a regular fraction, and then you do the math. And don't always forget to take the reciprocal of the second fraction. We'll do one more. I think you're getting the drift. One more. All right, here's my new eraser. My eraser yesterday was done. I'm like, come on. All right, let me see what my last easiest one I had was. I wanted to give you a whole number. See, this is not a mixed number. It's a whole number because it's all by itself. It's a regular 6. And I'm going to say it's going to be divided by 2.5. All right? So you have to use your brain. You have to be on top of your math at all times. Remember, we can't do a whole number by itself. So step number 1, we change the whole number into a fraction. This becomes 6 over 1. We change our division to a multiply. Step number 2. Step number 3, we rename and flip. So let's rename together. 2 times 2 equals 4 plus 1 equals 5 over 2. But I'm not going to put 5 over 2. I'm going to flip it. It's going to become 2 over 5. I flipped it. And then I'm basically all done. 6 times 2 is 12. 5 times 1 is 5. 12 over 5 is the answer. But again, you could see that it's improper because the 12 is bigger. The teacher may take this response, or she might say, can you please reduce that? So how do we reduce again? We divide. 5 goes into 12 2 times, and 2 is left over the 5. There's your answer. I don't want to tire you out. Please like this video if you liked it. If you understood it, please put a comment so I can clarify. And please subscribe and tell a friend. Thank you so much.